let's shift our focus to another very crucial aspect of this story. We have information that traders placed about $580 million in oil bets ahead of Donald Trump's social media post on the pause or on, how there's a 5-day window now. Thousands of Brent contracts changed hands within 15 minutes before the president's message on Truth Social. What do we know about this? In the latest, we're getting to know that there were bets that were placed. Traders made bets worth about $500 million. My colleague Hina is with us. Hina, can you explain to us what happened in those 15 minutes now that there are reports coming out of how bets were placed and the amount that we are looking at is $580 million in oil bets?
Absolutely, Sagrika. In fact, this is what is being reported right now because timing of Donald Trump's post is suspicious. In the past also we have seen several instances wherein, his posts which have the potential to really move markets in America and then eventually in other parts of the world, their timing is extremely important. So if you look at what we are talking about right now, there is, it looks like there was some kind of an insider trading. Now, this is what data is suggesting as per reports. Let's tell you what exactly has happened. So, according to, the America time, it was 7:04 a.m. Donald Trump put out this post on Truth Social. According to the futures data, I'm talking about the energy market here, between 6:49 a.m. and 6:50 a.m., in fact, New York time, around 6,200 Brent and WTI future contracts exchanged hands. Now, according to reports, there were bets worth about $580 million that were placed just 15 minutes before Donald Trump's big announcement. And remember, it was a huge announcement that actually moved the markets to green this morning. So that big announcement came just 15 minutes after these bets were put on the oil market. So is Trump actually playing the market is the question. And second, who is really making money out of these timely statements that US president has been putting out time and again? Because remember, the American markets on Monday, just like our markets, were set for a bloodbath. The oil prices were soaring and there was a lot of uncertainty. Remember, in our markets as well, there was bloodbath yesterday. Sensex closed about 1,800 odd points down. So similarly, American markets were also giving signals that there are going to be deep cuts. And suddenly, this news comes out. Oil prices fall almost 10%. In fact, this morning, oil fell below $100 per barrel. Right now, it's back above $100 per barrel, and our markets are also in green. So, people are asking questions.
Yes.
Is something happening that the world is not aware of? Because remember, Iran has never said yes to whatever Trump is claiming.
Right. And let's also not forget, Hina, that Donald Trump is a businessman. And if traders made bets worth $500 million in the oil market just 15 minutes before Donald Trump's post where he claimed that, yes, there are productive talks that are underway. What does that indicate? With that, let's also shift our focus, and my colleague Hina stays with us. After Donald Trump's claims about talks, how are Indian markets reacting? For that too, let me go across to Hina. Hina, the Sensex is surging, market rally is gaining some kind of momentum. What's the latest?
Well, when the markets opened this morning, it was a complete sea of green, and Sensex in fact opened with a gain of about 1,100 odd points. And right now, if we look at Sensex, it's seeing a gain of about 638 points, Agrika. It's trading comfortably above 73,300 mark right now, a gain of about 0.88%. Similar is the scenario as far as Nifty is concerned. So there is, of course, an impact of positivity that we saw in the American stock markets last night. So along with India, other Asian markets are also looking pretty strong. And the single reason is Trump's promise, though, he's not really known to keep his promise. But anyways, at least the sentiment has turned promising, positive. So Trump has promised there are going to be no American strikes on Iranian energy infrastructure for at least 5 weeks. So a bit of a breather there for investors here. Of course, investors are also very carefully treading right now because it's not that if 1,800 points were lost yesterday, today markets jumped over 2,000 points. That didn't happen. So there is a sense of cautious optimism on the Wall Street that we are witnessing because oil prices have really tumbled, which is a great news for an important country like India.
All right, but like you're saying, Hina, Donald Trump changes his statement and his strategy every day. Some experts are of the view maybe he does not have a strategy, and that is why even when he talks about a 5-day pause after giving out a 48-hour ultimatum, while there is no, confirmation as such coming in from top officials in Iran, while there's the media in Iran which is saying that whatever Donald Trump is saying with regards to talks is fake news, then they are brutally trolling him about his post. How do the global markets react to this kind of sentiment that's now coming out? I want you to also stay with us because let's also talk about the rupee. What is the status of the rupee today? How is the, what are we looking at right now? Rupee is opening stronger. Hina, once again, coming back to you. Like, yes, markets do react to sentiment, and right now we are also seeing rupee, the status of the rupee, if you can also explain that to us.
Right. So yesterday, amid the bloodbath that we saw on the Lal Street, the rupee also was very, very close to 94 against the dollar. Rupee has also been hitting a new low against the dollar almost on a daily basis ever since this war really started. But right now, because markets are seeing a breather, rupee has also risen to about 93.64 against the dollar. So there is a bit of gain in the rupee market as well on softer dollar and easing oil prices. Like I mentioned, oil prices fell sharply after Donald Trump's announcement yesterday. And all these, markets, financial markets or the currency markets, they essentially run first on sentiment and then, of course, a lot of other things happen. So right now, rupee has opened stronger. It's seen a gain of about 34 paise to 93.64 against the dollar. This is better than yesterday's close of 93.98 against the dollar. So we were just 2 paise away from hitting that psychologically crucial mark of 94 against the dollar. But today there has been a bit of a recovery. And also, in situations like these, Sagrika, RBI also intervenes. Remember, RBI has significant amount of dollars in its kitty. So whenever there are wild swings in the currency market, then RBI also intervenes. But this is not because of RBI's intervention. It's because of, the sense we got yesterday from Donald Trump.
But yes, those statements keep changing every day. What's going to happen next? Let me go across to Sharat Kohli. Mr. Kohli, good morning once again, and thank you for joining us. Another day, another statement, but this time a significant one. Donald Trump says that, yes, there are talks that are going on with Iran which are heading in a constructive direction. There is a 5-day pause for now. You're seeing markets reacting to it. What is your analysis of what could happen next?
Good morning, Hina, to you and Times Now viewers. Well, obviously, the market is reacting simply to the statements, not that anything major has happened on the ground. There have been no fresh attacks on the power plants, although there have still been attacks from Iran on Israel. So the markets, I think that the reaction is a bit temporary, I would say. I don't think markets are getting any direction right now from the sentiment which was prevailing over all these days. A minor recovery, I would say. It's a technical bounce, about 230 points up is what Nifty is indicating as of now. And about 700 points is the bank Nifty, which is indicating. So things are very fluid, very fragile as of now. Well, if you look at President Trump's statements, because Iran has not ratified, in the same tone. And I was reading, Hina, a very interesting article in Washington Post on President Trump, that 30,573 lies were spoken in his first term. So, you know what I'm trying to say. It's very hard to believe what he says. Only time will tell. I think the ground realities will probably be revealed in a couple of days as to what happens, because Iranian authorities are completely in a denial mode. They said no such talk and no such talk is going to happen. So the markets are taking a bit of a breather, I would say, after having being pushed down so much. Nothing to be taken as a direction, no turnaround, no reversal, I would say. Just wait and watch. Even this gain which has been made might as well evaporate during the day as the news flows in. I think it will completely be news-based as far as the movement is concerned, Hina.
Mr. Kohli, before I let you go, I also like to get in a comment from you on the reports that are coming in of how there were traders who made bets worth $500 million in the oil market about 15 minutes before Donald Trump's post where he spoke about productive talks with Iran. And if that's true, what does that mean?
Absolutely. This speaks, if there is any truth in this, then yes, you see one single statement from President Trump makes the commodity markets move up and down. We saw gold hitting $4,000, close to $4,000, and then it recovered to about $4,400. Same thing happened in the crude market. Same thing happened in the stock market. I think this reminds me of Hindenburg, some time ago.
Right.
You know, when there are statements made and there are some players who play around. So I think the truth might be revealed in future, or maybe not.
All
but
right.
then if this is happening, this is very devastating, because it is at the cost of millions and millions of investors and stakeholders around the world, Hina.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Kohli, for joining us on this broadcast. With that, viewers, it's time for us to slip into a short commercial break. We'll be back with more news and updates.